Because the Phoenix Suns get what was their best win of the season in a few months. And that low bar just keeps getting raised over and over and over again. That Clippers team, especially defensively, is a really good team. And the Suns just beat them pretty thoroughly for a lot of that game. It got dicey in that third quarter where the Suns relinquished the lead and then Grayson Allen hits a three. James Harden gets down. He gets an offensive foul. This was late in the third quarter. Suns get the ball back, and it was history at that point. At that point, it was 76-70, and the Suns never relinquished the lead again. And this is where it got me thinking, because you had the report that Bradley Beal wouldn't accept a trade to the Chicago Bulls, which surprised me zero. The Chicago Bulls always made more sense than the Detroit Pistons, given the fact of his connection with Billy Donovan and the University of Florida, clearly. But it never shocked me that Bradley Beal was never going to take a deal to the Chicago Bulls. It was also just one of those things where it's like the Chicago Bulls, the Detroit Pistons, none of that makes any sense to me. Feels like he's going to go to Milwaukee or he's going to go to the Miami, and that's the only place. Now, I would say my confidence has wavered a little bit over the past couple of days, given how hard it is to trade Bradley Beal. But I still think Jimmy Butler will be a member of the Phoenix Suns. Zach Lavine, especially for the cost, makes no sense for this Suns team. I never thought it was going to happen, but I also wanted to put out there that I never believed in it. Zach Lavine is 3 to 4 inches taller Bradley Beal. He's a little bit better of a defender. He's just as injury prone. And he's more of just a bucket getter. Shoots for the three ball a little bit more than Bradley Beal. Maybe not as effectively, but he does shoot the three ball more than Bradley Beal does, just at a pure volume. But he makes no sense. The only thing that makes sense for this team is Jimmy Butler. But there's an argument to be made last night, given their really impressive win. 111-109 against the Clippers, who are a very good defensive team. Kawhi Leonard played last night. James Harden was there last night. It's not like they were missing guys. Derrick Jones Jr. It was a really good win. And it got me thinking. Winning 8 of their last 10. Another big game coming up on Wednesday, I believe against the Minnesota Timberwolves, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the Suns are starting to get their feet out from under them. Now, listen, it's hard to really believe what's right, what's wrong. The Phoenix Suns, even this win, as impressive as it is, isn't impressive if you're the Celtics, isn't impressive if you're one of the top echelon teams in the NBA. But what I would say to that is, coming up with games against the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Golden State Warriors, the Trailblazers, the Thunder, a handful of teams in there. The Nuggets are coming up that are going to test just how far you've come. And we're going to know very soon if the Suns are closer to that 8-2 team over their last 10 games, or if what they were in the middle of the season, which was not even average, just overall bad. And it's like, do I really want the Phoenix Suns to give up the rest of their draft capital potentially for Jimmy Butler, given the fact that the Suns are starting to get their feet beneath them? 8-10 over their last 10 games. 8-2 over the last 10 games. Nick Richards has came into the fold and stabilized the center position. Do you really want to throw away a little bit of your chemistry that you've been building over these last 10 games for a Jimmy Butler? Do you really want to do that? I mean, one of the issues with this Suns team has been chemistry, has been cohesion, has been time playing together, knowing each other. And if you add Jimmy Butler to the fold after winning 8 of your last 10 games, you're throwing chemistry out the window again. And you're having to hope that when Jimmy Butler shows up, they're just going to automatically be awesome, which is usually not the case. It usually takes time. So do you want to wait that time once again with less than half the remaining games left on the NBA schedule? I don't know if I would, but the easy answer to that question is we saw what the Phoenix Suns last year, with chemistry, with games played together, looked like. Now, could the Suns team be better than last year's team? Maybe. But do I think they can be astronomically better through 40-plus games this season that I've seen this year? No. So the question is, are you trying to win a championship? Because if you're trying to win a championship, there is a world out there where Jimmy Butler does help you do that. Is it likely? I don't know. I'd probably lean towards no. But the real answer, the real question is, we know what it looked like last year with this team. Yeah, Tyus Jones wasn't here, and, a couple of different, Nick Richards wasn't here, but it's hard for me to think that Nick Richards and Tyus Jones takes them from a team with 0 playoff wins last year to now 16. There is a world where I think Jimmy Butler does have this team win 16 games in the playoffs and become NBA champions. Is it likely? No. But I know for a fact that it's not likely at all with what they had last year. So, as much of this chemistry and cohesion and these past couple of games have been very encouraging to watch as Suns fans, and maybe they are turning a corner, and it's fun to even be able to have that conversation and until, of course, the Minnesota Timberwolves come to town in a couple of days and potentially squash that. But if you're asking yourself, do you want to trade for Jimmy Butler and just throw away the chemistry that you have been building over these last 10 games? I think the answer is still yes. Because regardless, even if this team is starting to get their feet beneath them, we know how it ends. And it doesn't end very well. So, whether it's Jimmy Butler or to a much lesser extent, and I know this isn't even possible now, a Zach Lavine, something needs to be shaken up because the team right now doesn't work. Bradley Beal, I will still contest, very good player, fringe all-star guy in the East on a team that doesn't really matter. Very efficient still. He just doesn't fit on this team. He's not bad. It's like Tobias Harris on the 76ers. He's obviously a good player, playing well with the Detroit Pistons. Fit matters in the NBA. Bradley Beal is not washed. Still a very good player, but he just doesn't fit with what the Phoenix Suns want to do. And I think you saw that once again last night where he just wasn't very good, or he just wasn't very effective. So, regardless of the momentum that the Suns are building, I think it's pretty clear they are still miles away from being title contenders. They're still miles away from being a second-round Western Conference team. And the only way that's going to change is if you made a trade for Jimmy Butler, which looks more and more less likely as the day continues to go on. But gotta be fair, if it does happen, this is what we've seen with this Jimmy Butler saga. Today, I don't think so, and tomorrow I'll think for sure it's going to happen. But the only way things are going to change if there's a major shakeup to this team, and even with that happening, I'm not so sure even I believe it.